YouTube, welcome everyone. Thank y'all for joining. Appreciate y'all for hitting that thumbnail, man. Y'all know I'm super grateful to all of the new subscribers. Welcome to the family. Welcome to Become Better, More Money. And to the people who are already subscribed, man, welcome to the casa. Welcome home, you know what I mean? Really appreciate y'all. Y'all know me, if y'all know my channel, if y'all are already a frequent subscriber, person who's here all the time, then y'all know I don't like to be long with the introductions, but thank y'all. So y'all seen the title. Y'all already know what it is. This is a big one for me. Sobriety, man. Like I say, sobriety is a superpower. I really do. I think we actually might be going in the right direction with just this new generation. And my goal today for you is to get a couple of tips, couple of philosophies that I've learned over my 5-year sobriety journey. To all of those people out there that are on the journey, shouts out to you. Super proud of you. And to all those people that are considering it, shouts out to you as well. And to anybody that's just like don't know where they're at, shouts out to you as well, because you're still here, you're still alive, baby. Life can be whatever you want it to be. So let's get right into it, man. I got a couple of things to share. So I'm gonna break it down for y'all in a few different ways on what I believe that at the end of this video, you will have some great insight on how to become better at understanding sobriety, at practicing sobriety, and also being able to influence other people who want to join this journey of sobriety. So let's get to it. Y'all see the whiteboard? We got it right here. So without further ado, let's get this thing popping. So I got the different markers. We'll see if these markers show me love today. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got the look. Little Martin Luther King birthday was yesterday. You know, I got to shout that out. I'm from Atlanta. Real great baby things. If you know, you really know. You know, Martin Luther King. He an Atlanta man, Atlanta kid. He was, at least when he was with us, when he was president. But it made me think of these colors because these are the African American flag colors from Marcus Garvey or whatever. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna break it down, and we'll break it down into two different things. And this is the way I felt was able to help me out, and hopefully it can help you. So, y'all know I got my little phone. I've been wrapping my notes to make this real smooth for y'all, easily ingestible. So what we're gonna do is we'll break down the two different, I guess, concepts or parts of looking at going about sobriety. So the first part is dealing with the philosophy. So we'll just put philosophy at the top. I think all things lead back to your mind and how your mind works. So philosophy is at the top. Philosophy. So y'all know I'm gonna have to, hopefully y'all can see that. So we'll put philosophy at the top. So everything here, okay, pretty straight line. And then down here, we'll put the action. And then the second part is, once we get our mind right, and we understand why we're doing what we're doing, because it all starts from your mind, then we'll be on the right path to have a better chance to making the right actions. A lot of times people will do things and they'll go straight into the action and not knowing why they're doing them, which sometimes is good to be spontaneous. But when you're starting something that's intense, like sobriety, yeah, you definitely want to have the philosophy down. So don't worry, y'all. If you're used to my channel, then you really know. Oh, I don't like that line. We got to be consistent. If you're used to my channel, then y'all know I like to give a little testimony and backstory behind what made me come up with this. So I'm not gonna continue doing it the way I normally do it. So I'm gonna do it that way too. I just want to at least give y'all the lay of the land first before we get into my backstory. Cause I'm trying to get a lot more. Oh, that line is not straight, but it'll do for now. So, and you know what's crazy? I might not even use this, but it's looking like it's so right now. It's looking like it's the business right now. So for me, sobriety has been like something that I really always knew that I wanted. So let me give y'all the backstory real quick. I started my sobriety journey around 2019 on my birthday, actually. It was my 33rd birthday. So, and I turned 33 and it was on October 28th, 2019. So it's funny, I'll never forget it. It'll always be my birthday and my sobriety anniversary. And when I say sobriety officially from never putting alcohol to my lip, never ingesting alcohol, never drinking. But I also mean, you know, as far as this whole conversation that we're discussing tonight, is all things sobriety, just complete sobriety from all substance abuse. So I started that journey about 2019, exactly 2019, 2019. And I was on it for a while, as in knew I wanted to stop because I really started drinking young. I don't know how like most people are, all my viewers. You know what I mean? Y'all make sure y'all tap into. Y'all let me know where y'all from in the comments, man. For real, for real. I want to start understanding where y'all from so I can have some more insight about, y'all perspective in life. But I grew up drinking, just having like your grandma feed you beer and tell you things like, oh yeah, beer is good for your stomach, it'll kill the germs. And so just even as like a little kid, like 7 years old, your grandma let you take a little sip of beer and those little different things. So I wouldn't say that was just something that really was just like, oh, ever since I was 7, I was drinking, but it was around me in my family. Now in my mom's house, my mom's an alcoholic, I grew up with what I consider my dad, my stepdad, he don't drink at all. So in my like intermediate house, my house that I lived in, my mom drank. It was social drinking, maybe have a little wine here and there. But it was never a big thing like how it was for like my other family members when I be at like my cousin's house and my auntie house and my grandma's house and everybody. And they was drinking, So I seen it growing up. And just growing up in the 90s and, being a little ghetto kid, you see certain things. You see dudes with the brown paper bag. So I had that influence to understand like, okay, this is alcohol, this is drugs. You see these different type of things. But I always had the mind to understand why people did what they did. Because I was around it, I seen the environment. You can either learn from things or you can learn from lessons without having to live them, or you have to learn from lessons and learn it the hard way, as they say. Hard head make a soft ass, as they say. So fast forward, 16, 17 is when I really started drinking. Probably, I say about 16. I say about 16 years old. Maybe 15, 16. I was really like drinking. And then it's crazy because where I stayed at, that's why I know, like, this video might be a little long, y'all, but I really want to talk about this because this is important. And I don't know how many people will need to hear this and being able to affect their lives. And I truly, truly, really want somebody to like hit the comments and be like, man, I need to hear this today, bro, because it's the beginning of the year, y'all. So I know this is the time for people with their whole New Year's resolutions and wanting to start their goals off. And we literally have 10 more days till it's February, and it's actually starting the second month of the year. So don't let this year be like last year, and hopefully somebody can learn from this. So this might be a long one, y'all. I know it's going to be a longer one. Hopefully I can keep it under an hour. But so it was crazy. Go back to my story. It was crazy because where I grew up at, it was a neighborhood that was like a middle class suburb neighborhood somewhat. But the dude who owned the gas station, he used to let us buy beer. That's why I just know I'm like, and this is not the 70s or the 60s when you can just go to the store and, your grandma or your mama say, go buy a beer or some cigarettes and they give you the money, you go buy it. And I'm not that old, obviously. I just told you on my birthday, but I remember my uncles and everybody telling me stories of how they used to be. So it made me even think like, man, it was meant for me to like drink and have that in my story. Like out of all the places I could have lived, who would have known I lived in a neighborhood that one of the gas stations out of like 3 would be a guy who would actually sell me and my homies alcohol, y'all. Sell alcohol and no ID. Like we would just go in there and get 6 packs, 32 packs. And we would, I got some of mine. We would go and buy alcohol. So I feel like that was like the beginning of the journey of saying like, yo, we about to be turned up. And ever since I was 15, 16, I knew that I wanted to stop drinking because I started so young. So like for the first 3 years, I was into it. I was like drinking, smoking. I think the first time I ever snorted cocaine, I was like 16 years old, maybe like around the same age, 10th grade. I was 10th grade, so I can't remember whatever age I was around then. Snorting cocaine, and I grew up in a neighborhood where, it's really a melting pot, but it's predominantly Latino. So like I grew up around like a lot of cartel shit, like a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Colombians, and my kids that have Colombian. So like I really was exposed to that at a really young age. So like when a lot of dudes, if you were just in the hood, you would have cocaine because obviously coke and drugs are in the hood too. But like because where I was at, I was closer to like Latinos than most black people would be. I just had the access to those things. So I was snorting cocaine at a really young age. Obviously smoking weed. So having these things already being done at 15, it prompted me to want to start quitting around like 19 and 20, but I didn't do it. There were times where I had my little moments where I was like, all right, I'm gonna be done, and I take a little break. I might just drink. I might be selling weed, and I'm only drinking while I'm selling weed because I'm like, I don't want to get high on my own supply, so I ain't gonna smoke, y'all. I don't want to smoke because I'm selling weed, so I don't want to smoke. I'm gonna just drink. So there'll be moments where I wasn't doing all three or all four at one time. I might just be drinking for a little bit, but I couldn't beat it. And then there's so many different things. I got arrested so many different times for just living reckless behavior and just doing so many things, just being around so much drugs, y'all, and just alcohol. Y'all know the lifestyle. If you lived it, then you know the lifestyle. But I'm just giving y'all some insight on my story. And I always knew that the person that y'all witnessing now, this become better, more money person, this self-help personal development person, I was this person too. I was a functioning alcoholic. I was a functioning drug user. I was a functioning, person who did what they did when it came to certain type of drug distributions and trafficking. I was functioning, and did those things and still function while having, a corporate job and a 9-to-5 or whatever, and at a young age. And I always was like trying to figure out which wolf to feed. But my initial reason for coming into the toxic lifestyle was an experiment because it was around me, but I wanted to see like why my uncle, why my aunts, why the people around me do these things. Why did the culture, why did black people in our neighborhood, why do we do these things? So I've always had this philosophy to want to be more and grow more since a little kid, so I think being able to finally evolve and understand how I went from being a person who literally was drinking alcohol for 18 years straight. I started when I was 15, y'all. I didn't stop till I was 33. And that was like 18 years straight, and being able to drink and do those things and lead me to this place now. Hopefully, when I'm done talking, y'all be like, okay, he has an idea of what the fuck he talking about. Because I done seen so many people, I'm talking about, went to jail, we done crashed cars, we done got into all type of trouble. I've seen people OD from heroin, like homies, friends, from just all the phases of all the little phases that the drug world and the alcohol world and the substance abuse world have shitted out in the last 20 years I have been a part of. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm 38, turned 39 this year. So you go 20 years back then, y'all do the math. I've been sober for 5 years out of the 18 years, or out of the 23 years from when I really, really started doing stuff. So hopefully that gives y'all some insight and y'all can take down and take some knowledge from what I'm giving y'all today. But enough of me, let's get to it. So the reason why philosophy is important is because you have to be able to understand your mind, y'all. Philosophy equals mind. So let's just put this next to philosophy too. We'll put philosophy and then we'll put mind next to philosophy, and then we'll put body, because you can think, and thinking is an action, but you really can't see your thoughts. You can tell someone's thinking through their physical motions and things they do in their physical body. You can tell somebody's thinking, but an action is an external thing. You see it and it's displayed through your body. So the first part about the philosophy, and the first part within the philosophy, is the gains and losses philosophy. And this is powerful, y'all, because I want y'all to see the gains and losses. So we'll say gains and losses. And this is going to be pretty easy for y'all to understand. Oh yeah, I can already tell now I'm writing too big, y'all. We probably ain't gonna get everything on this board, but it's okay though. I believe, so I'm gonna make it work. So gains and losses. So gains and losses. So, and within the gains and losses, we have a few things. We have time. We have, which is most important, energy, in my opinion, which is second the most important. And then we have money. Okay? So, when you're thinking about the philosophy behind the mind that you have to get to understand sobriety, to get why sobriety is important, the philosophy behind the mind to understand why sobriety is important, it's good to start off with the gains and losses concept, because it allows you to identify exactly what the sacrifice and the reward is, what the risk and the reward is, what the gain and what the loss is. And if you look at it from a time, energy, money perspective, then you have to look at it for things that you can actually put a real number to, a real quality to. You can get quantitative data and qualitative data, as in quantity, as in quality. So for me, I can just say, of course, we don't think, let me stand there. I'm gonna try to keep doing this and moving around because I looked at the last video, I was like, I hate that angle for y'all. So of course, we can all say there's no such thing as losses and nothing but lessons. And I believe that if you look at life in the right perspective, there is no such thing as losses. It's all lessons. But we also gotta be realistic as fucking, like, man, you just literally, you did waste some time. Like, that's just, you, if you could have made another decision, you could have got something better from that. So I like to be realistic in that as well, to say that too. So if we just look at gains and losses, let's just use myself for example, and you can put yourself in there and just fill yourself in for me. But for myself, I can say, okay, gains. How much time am I gaining from not being sober? How much time? Like, how much am I getting out of my time when I'm not being sober? Because think about it. When you're not being sober, think about the time that you do waste. You can use weed, for instance. I don't give a fuck who you is. Anybody that says that they're not losing their memory from smoking weed and they ain't smoked enough. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care who you are. Like, I ain't in Cali, I ain't from Cali, but I was around Cali plugs and Cali people before, using really cool to do for people who was born when I was born. And I done smoked enough weed to realize that you will lose your memory when you smoke. You lose your memory. And if you feel like you're smart with weed, imagine how much smarter you will be without it. You know what I'm saying? You taking this from a dude who is almost equally as creative as he is logical. As in, I can write music almost as well as I can do mathematical equations and come up with business logic and understand profit loss and profit margins and all of that, left brain, right brain. I'm almost equally left brain, right brain. And from the creative side, I've been there to where it's like, oh man, I need to smoke weed so I can feel so much more creative, bro. Like, this painting is so much better when I'm high. This music just sounds so much better when I'm high. I was a point in time, y'all, where I felt like, I was like, dang, when I first started going sober, y'all, I was like, man, my music ain't gonna be as good. It ain't gonna be as good. And like, not to my home, but I will. But like, if you from Atlanta and you know anybody that's Atlanta, most likely I can pull somebody that you know, if they famous, that know somebody that I know that know me and know who I am when it comes to this music and writing. And it's like, that was just in my mind, because actually I got better once I became sober. So I say that to say, your mind and your memory is affected through smoking. So your memory has to do with your time, because imagine if you lost your memory. Imagine what quality of life you had if you didn't have your memory. Literally, imagine if you learned how to tie your shoes one day and then you forgot it. You would never know how to tie your shoes. Imagine if you learned how to walk and then as soon as you learned the task of fully walking, you forgot it. So your memory is everything. So when you're thinking about what do you gain, when it comes to your time and your body physically, you're really losing time. So you can put something over here. Money. I mean, not time, money. I meant to put memory. Sorry, y'all. You're losing your memory. You're losing your memory. You're losing your memory. And if you're losing your memory, you're losing your time, because you might forget where some keys at. You might forgot where you put your jacket. You might forgot to did something on the list. And of course, all of these things can happen if you're not smoking or you're not sober, you're not drunk or whatever, you're not using drugs. But the fact of the matter is that the likelihood of these things happening goes up when you are influenced and you're under the influence of pretty much anything that's not keeping your brain sharp. So easily you can see that you're not gaining anything when it comes to time. You're losing time because you're losing your memory, and you're losing time because you're forgetting things. You have to go back and do them again. So memory is just one. I can make this list so long, and I'm thinking about actually packaging this into a course because there's so much to put in just this little time that I want to share with y'all. So don't worry, we'll see if that comes to fruition, if it's meant to be. And I have a way more in-depth, detailed version of this. But I want to give y'all a high level just to give y'all like a damn, I didn't think about it like that. So gains and losses. What are you gaining from substance abuse? Are you gaining anything with your time? Are you gaining any time? In my opinion, I don't feel like you can say you gain anything that's related to time from you doing it. You might say, well, let's do this just for shits and giggles, y'all. Just cause you might be like, well, I was more productive. Let's just for all my artists, for all the people who, who brain probably works. And you know what? I'll say another thing. There has been research for some people who do have some memory issues or some neurological problems that marijuana does help induce those type of chemicals in your brains to work certain things in your mind. So cool. There is science-based research that just says when you use at a certain amount, then it does help certain things. Also medicinal purposes for people who may have like cancer or bone, and they can write so much shit. Everybody in the West Coast and all this, they can write all of that other stuff. But what they don't tell you is that all marijuana doing is just opening up the chemical that's already derived in your brain. So it's not like taking a chemical that's outside of you and just putting it in there. All it's doing is just triggering a chemical that you were already born with in your brain and making it come out, and it's summoning it. So let's just say for shits and giggles, you say, oh, well, I'm gaining more time because I'm more productive as a creative person. It's like, man, if I wouldn't have done that task, high, then I probably would have been taking a lot longer to do the task. Just for folks who think that, maybe somebody in the comments is thinking that. So we'll put that there. But I would rather keep my memory for the sake of making sure that I can be more productive longer down the road than saying that I'm productive for this task. Oh, I was good on that painting, but I forgot where I put my car keys at. Like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, if y'all don't believe this, you're not being honest. But that's up to y'all. And I don't think none of my subscribers is like that. If y'all is, then I'm just kidding. But there's no way. Y'all tell me what y'all want. Would you just rather be productive in a 30-minute task that you made maybe 20 productive and got 20 minutes, 10 minutes shaved off and it became 20 because you were in your creative flow? Or you would say, you know what? I didn't lose as much because I didn't lose where these misplaced certain things. Y'all tell me. So the second thing is energy. When you are smoking, drinking, do you have more energy? Another thing, anybody who says that they don't get sleepy after smoking is never smoked no weed. Anybody who says they don't wake up tired after a long night of drinking, or even just a little bit, especially if you get older and you drink some wine or drink a little alcohol, you get tired. Why put yourself through that front trouble or that front pleasure for you to have a back end trouble? Why go through it if you feel like in the beginning it's good, but when it's coming out, it's bad? Especially when you can have a life that where something goes in, comes out, if not better than it was when it went in. So that's the second thing, energy. You're losing your physical energy. So I'm gonna put another thing over here on this side. I feel like physical. So you're losing your physical energy, physical and endurance. Let's put endurance. Because you don't even have as much endurance. You're going to wake up late. You're going to wake up tired. You're going to wake up groggy. Then your appetite. Even appetite. I was, chilling with a comrade a couple of days ago for my homie. He was getting married. And my homie was like, man, I ain't going to be able to eat the rest of this until I smoke. And it made me think about them old days where I used to not even have an appetite unless I smoked weed. That's not even normal. That's not normal, y'all. You wasn't born smoking bud unless, even if your mama was pregnant with you, that was the closest that you can get to being able to say you was born hitting some gas. So, or some Zyme, whatever the hell people want to call it nowadays. But even then, even your appetite is gone. So think about it. So far, in my opinion, even if you smoke some weed, like some sativa, which is supposed to make you more, energetic and have you more energy, which, it does. It's still a short-term fix. Even sativas, that's it. So, because I like to be balanced, I like to be fair. So let's just say, hey, when I smoke some sativa or I get some high-quality coke, which, I've done all of these. I just told y'all my story. I ain't sitting up here to lie to you. You have some high-quality coke, then you got a little bit of energy for a little bit. You geeked up for a little bit. Like, some good cocaine, you might be up for a whole 2 days. Don't even go to sleep. So, but then good going in, bad coming out. Imagine the bullshit you got to deal with when you finally sleepy and you finally got to get some rest and you finally got to eat again. Let's put some meth in there. I done had homies who been up for weeks on meth, 5, 6, 7 days, and ain't been sleeping about 4, 5 days. So you can put meth up there. Yeah, you gain some energy, but is it long term, y'all? The secret is to keep it. So I put 2 things here just to balance it out. This is short term, just to get y'all even better. Short term. That's another way to look at it. Short term versus long term. Because I like to break stuff down and give people the most in-depth but precise and concise way to look at a situation or look at a concept. Short term versus long term. Look, I'm up here talking about my memory. I can't even remember what I put up there. Look, I ain't even smoking. That's just called pushing 40 years old. That's what that's called. I'm just kidding. But and then I have money here. Oh Lord, y'all know me. Become better, more money. Sorry about the angle, y'all. But become better, more money. So let's talk about money, man. I guarantee you, for anybody that has, y'all do this. Do me a favor, right? 2025 Waters Challenge. I challenge you to document every expense that is substance abuse related until the end of the year. And then y'all go hit me on Instagram and let me know. Or y'all can hit me on Gmail, wordsbywaters@gmail.com. Or y'all can hit me at Instagram, Words by Waters. Either one, don't matter. Words by Waters everywhere. Words by Waters, let me know. If y'all come back December 31st, let me know how much you spent. And I guarantee you, I can show you 3 ways that could have gave you way more than what you got. As a matter of fact, I can show you 3 ways that it probably gave you a quarter of your money back to where you can go even buy more drugs and more alcohol with. Let me know the challenge. Y'all wanted to do the challenge? We do. I might even just put that out there on the ground. I can't be a part of it because I might do something different. I might, give somebody some money at the end if they get a part of the challenge. So let's see. Yeah, that's what I do. Thank y'all. I just gave myself an idea. So look, money. How much money have you gained in? Unless you selling. So look, y'all know me. I like to balance. Unless you selling, and then you got to make sure that you selling and ain't using none of this. You better be selling alcohol. You better be selling the weed. You better be selling the meth. You better be selling the coke. You better be selling the pills. So we'll just put selling there. But then I'm gonna just put you lose all your money. I'm gonna just put it ratchet all your money. Cause it's that serious. Bruh, oh my God. Like the fact, you know how much I've grown, y'all? Like the fact that even thinking like, I spent some money on some cigarettes. Like I even smoke cigarettes. I ain't had that in there. I smoked Newports when I was like 15, 16, consistently for like 10 years. Well, probably longer than that. When I had my daughter when I was 24, I started, so 8 years. For 8 years, I stopped smoking cigarettes in 2010. My daughter was born. I don't know what it was. I don't think it was because of her. It's just I was done with it. I'm one of the type of people when my mind say I'm done with something, I go cold turkey, y'all. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe I got some people. Let me know in the comments. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe too if y'all rocking with me, if y'all still here. But maybe some other people like that. But when I'm done with something, I just go cold turkey. I'm just like, I don't know. I just shedded that snake skin. It don't fit no more. It just don't fit. So even then, but I can imagine, y'all. I think about when I go out in the store now and I think about the old version of myself and the different versions of me that used to be able to go in the store, buy the beer, come out, the dude already know what I want. Everybody already know what you want. They know you more than you know yourself type shit. And I think about like, I would actually go and spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 100. Like, bro, it's crazy the money that was spent. And I have nothing to look at. I can't even look at it. I have nothing to touch it now. You have when you're spending money on substance abuse, like alcohol, cigarettes, weed, you literally have nothing tangible to show for it once it's consumed. Unless you're trying to say, well, I smoke weed and it made me come up with this idea and now I have this. Cool. But is that idea worth more than your life and your energy? That's why I put money last on because it's like most people are like, well, I did that. Bruh, you can get some energy back before you can get some time back. That's why I put it in the order of what it's worth. Because your time is more important than your energy, and your energy is more important than your money. And you realize at the same time, it goes up. Once you understand time, you understand energy. Once you understand energy, you understand money. And then when you got money, you can use your energy however you want. And when you got the energy to do whatever you want, your time seems like you got all the time in the world because you're actually healthy and you can live long and you actually riding the wave of time. So I think the money one is clear, cut, and dry. We don't have to get to it, y'all. But this is the concept of what I meant, the philosophy, to understand the gains and losses concept. And when it comes to time, energy, and money, what are you gaining and what are you losing when it comes to substance abuse? And really lock in on those things. Like, is it really worth it? That's what you have to ask yourself. The next thing is, put my little handy dandy iPhone 14 Pro out. Let me see. The next thing is understanding the philosophy behind accountability, as in having somebody around you. And this is just the mind. You have to, first of all, you have to get your mind right. And this right here is powerful, y'all. All right, boy, get it out, stuttering, boy. You have to have your mind right. And this one's powerful because it won't always look the way you think it's gonna look. So accountability is influence and your circle. So being able to, when you are working on building your philosophy, building the mind to one day want to say, you know what, I want to apply what I've learned. I want to apply my philosophy and my mind to the real world, which is expressed through my actions. You have to realize you need to put yourself around an accountability mindset, as in what will show me how I need to be and what will show me who I need to be. So the accountability will show you what and how you need to be. That's what it will. The accountability will show you what and how you need to be. So the goal is to get the philosophy around you to have an imagination, to imagine the type of people that are where you want to be and where you're at. So right now, if you are struggling with sobriety and struggling with substance abuse, then you need to go out and even Google people, famous people who are on drugs first, or whatever relates to you. You might not want to be famous. You might just want to be somebody who is doing well at a corporate job. Guarantee you the internet is still one of the most underrated resources, because people see the internet, but they don't really see the internet because their mind is not in the right place, not realizing the tool can be utilized however, depending on the hands that is wielded, the person who's wielding it. So you can even put in the internet, man, corporate people who used to be on drugs, corporate people who used to be poor, or famous people who used to be poor and on drugs. Whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Whatever idea of this person that you want to be in your mind, you have to build some form of an accountability circle in your mind first to be able to say, okay, these are the people that are where I'm at now, but they are where I want to be. They are somebody that is what I want to be, and they're somebody is how I want to be. They're how I want to be. Their characteristics, their personality, their level of discipline, their level of integrity, their level of fortitude, but also as, man, a great dad, a great mom, a great partner, a great spouse, a great wife, husband, a great friend, a great coworker. So that will get your mind right, because then what you're doing is you're slowly but surely closing the gap from where you're at to where you want to be. And I think that's the biggest crack that people fall in. The crack of where you want to be is where we fall in. The crack of the in-between, the crack of the space that is between where you're at and where you want to be is where people fall into, and they never make it out. That's why people never get to the other side, because they fall in the space in between where they are and where they want to be, not realizing that the lessons that you have to learn and the person that you have to become is actually the building blocks and the planks, the wood planks. If we was crossing a wooden bridge, those are the wooden planks that actually add up together to get you to the other side. So you have to be able to build some type of idea of this person that you want to become, but you can't do it on your own because you're not that person already. So it's good to have some form of listening motivation if you're a blind person. I always like to think of people when I speak, all types of versions of people, but especially if you have your eyes and your ears and all of that, y'all. I got a video for that. The two gifts that that can change your life. Y'all go check that out. I'll try to put it at the end. If not, then I'll put up a card up here so y'all can check it out. But check that video out. It's two gifts, y'all. The gifts of listening, the gifts of seeing will change your life if you understand how they can get you rich. But if you have the visual motivation, then you can see somebody that's where you want to be, and you can imagine yourself being there, but you need to hold yourself accountable to want to be there by having these influences in your life. So it doesn't have to always be a person. What I did was I listened to people. So you can listen to lectures. Hopefully I can see that. Listen to lectures. You can read books. Movies. I bet y'all right, I'm getting a little sloppy. You can you can watch movies, and you can actually meet up. So you can meet people. I'll put meet up for y'all. So you can listen to lectures, you can read books, you can watch inspirational movies of people who made it from something to, from nothing to something. Watch meetups, go to meetups, and connect with people and network. Just have people who you know. Because the thing about it is, if you are somewhere and you don't want to be there, I guarantee you have an idea of somebody that's where you at in life or where you want to be in life. Both versions. Guarantee you have some idea of like, man, so-and-so is, but they doing that shit, boy. Why can I not do it? Just keep looking at that person. Keep focusing on that person. It's okay. It's okay if you're not there. But you should be blessed that you actually have the visual to do that. Imagine if we were still living in a time where the only visual motivation you had was the people that was on your block because there was no internet. There was no phone calls to call nobody. That's even way back farther. But just the fact that we have the internet is crazy. If all we had to rely on is a dream and a bus ticket, and imagine when there was no TVs, you couldn't even turn on the gram, you couldn't even turn on the black and white and be like, oh man, I seen Frank Sinatra singing. I want to be like Frank Sinatra. Oh, I seen Sammy Davis Jr. singing and acting. I want to be like. Imagine you didn't have them visual motivations. Imagine if you didn't have those visual motivations. But now you have way more than visual motivations. You actually have people that you can slide in their DM and be like, man, how did you do it? I'm down and out and I'm fucking confused. But you know what's crazy about people? Instead of hitting somebody up that's where you want to be and trying to be humble enough to ask them how they did it, people would rather troll motherfuckers and ghost people and not pay attention to people or pay attention to them, but then not really try to embrace them and be weird about that shit because they making you insecure because they live in a life that you live in. And you will never make it with that mentality. You are already lost. That's why philosophy is important. That's why understanding your mindset and your philosophy before making the actions will give you a better chance to actually accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So that's what the accountability stands in when it comes from a psychological and philosophical side, y'all. Understanding that the mind to want to hold myself accountable has to be there first. Placing myself around people who will hold me accountable, but holding myself accountable first is saying that these are the people that I want to mimic and be like. So hopefully y'all got that. Y'all know me. I don't like to be super long-winded with certain stuff. And if I got the point across, the point across. If not, y'all get in the comments and holler at your boy. And then we got realistic. This is a powerful one. Okay, we made it, but I'm trying to tell you, but if there's a will, there's a way. And yes, he will make a way. I be sounding old as hell the older I get. And realistic is powerful, y'all. I was talking to, and I don't know if you'll ever see this, Auntie Julie, I love you. But I was talking to one of my mom's friends, and we was having a real deep conversation, and she was, struggling, and she's around my mom's age, and which is still young because my mom had me at a young age, but she was asking me about advice about being sober. And it's like, the fact that she's asking me this advice, and I looked up to her and her husband for so many years and just, them raised me and always gave me just a special love and a special treatment. I don't even know why, but they just always loved me a little bit differently. But she was asking me about my sobriety journey and could I help her? And I'm like, wow, like that was such an honor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you my mama's friend and you asking me how I did it. So one thing I told her, because she was talking about how like she had a day to where everybody where she was at is drinking, and that's just like the norm where she's at. She's a part of this neighborhood in Atlanta. It's really, really nice, and all these super rich people that live there, and she's just saying that's the consensus to drink. And I was telling her, I was like, you know what, but that's okay. Because the thing about it is that y'all cannot beat yourself up about where you're at now and fall in between the gap, like I said, and fall in between the cracks. Because you're in the middle. So in the middle, if you're down and if you're in the valley is always going to be having to look up at where you want to be. And you have to be encouraged by the fact that you can see the top. And not be discouraged that the top is above you, but be encouraged that you can actually see it. And I was telling her it's okay if you make a mistake and drink when you didn't want to, because you're just there right now. That's where you're at. So you have to be realistic. And that's what this realistic thing is not being realistic is thinking that you're somewhere that you're not. And not being realistic is also thinking that you're somewhere that you're not, but not thinking that you can never get there because you're not there now. The true realistic side of any part of where you're at in your life is realizing that, hey, this is where I am. And if I know where I want to go, I can get there too. And both things are true. And a lot of times what we do is we psych ourselves out and say, oh man, this is where I'm at right now, man. This I'm always be right here. And just because I'm right here, this is what this looks like. No, but that's why you got to realize, go back to the first one, accountability. What does that future version of yourself look like? What does those people that are like where you want to be look like? What are those people that are like where you want to be and are doing? What are they doing now? What are they doing that can give you some type of motivation to say, you know what, I'm right here, but that this is where I'm at right now, but that's where I'm not going to be forever. And because y'all, more back to a personal testimony, I'm telling you, Shawty, that's where I had to be. I had to be there for some years. I remember 19 years old, man. Shouts out to my 19-year-old girlfriend that I had then, man. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl from Vietnam. From Long Beach, held me down when I was a kid. I don't know if you ever see this. Shouts out to you for real, shorty. But I remember one day I was drunk and I had got into an argument about some stupid ass shit. Imagine me trying to remember what argument was when I was 19. And I remember she was like crying like about something my dumb ass probably did. And she was crying. I was outside. I remember telling her, I was like, man, I'm trying to fucking stop. Like I was telling her, I was trying to stop drinking. Like I was just trying to like change my life. And I remember saying that. But in that moment, I felt so old, y'all. It was crazy. I was only 19. And I know I got an old soul and an old spirit. But I was saying I was ready to stop drinking at 19, like I was already drinking for like 20, 30 years. And I only been drinking for like four and a half, years. Three and a half, 4 years. And I say that to say that I was trying to stop 14 years before I finally stopped, y'all. So give yourself, it's okay, y'all. Give yourself a pat on the back. Understand that you need to be realistic about where you're at in your journey. And that's a philosophy thing. That's a mind thing. That's a mind thing to say, you know what? I want to stop. Point blank, motherfucking period. I remember another story when I was drinking. So I used to, in my old couple of spots ago, I had this little, and this when I really, really started falling heavy in the gym room. Shouts out to gym room, wherever you at, man. I appreciate your motivation. You changed my life. And make sure y'all subscribe, tap in. If y'all still rocking with me, man, make sure y'all tap in, hit that like, share, subscribe. But I remember I used to have this paper, and I had this paper of all of the different things that I wanted, like manifestation. I would have $10,000 by this time. And it's crazy because so much of that shit happened, bro. It's crazy. I was like, I'm going to save this much money. I'm going to do this. I used to have this list of this girl. Like, man, the girl in my dreams, she going to look like this. My wife going to blah, blah, blah. That's the only thing I ain't get yet, y'all. I'm still holding on to that one. But I'm like, the girl going to look like this. And I was like, every day that I drank, I would put like a little day. So in this time, and this was, let's be realistic, this was probably like a year before I officially started drinking. This was like 2018. So I was like, every time I drank, I had to go in there and write down the date. So I might have had like June 6th, 2028. 2018. So then I have to scratch that out, because then I might drink again. I'm like, dang, October 14th, 2018. Then drink for a little bit. Dang, I have to scratch that out again. You know what I'm saying? February 15th, 2019. Obviously, these are just numbers I'm guessing. But I'm saying that to say that even then, I still was documenting the journey, but I knew I wanted to be to a certain place. But I didn't stop the fact that I wasn't there yet from discouraging me from keep going on and being realistic that, you know what? I drank and I scratched out a couple. I'm talking, I had about 5, 6, 7 dates scratched out before I didn't ever do it again. I still got the paper. Mark my words. I might just take a picture of it and, you know, put it in a little post on YouTube so y'all can see it if y'all, you know, watching this far. But, and y'all comment on it too. Let me know if y'all comment like, okay, Julian, okay, Waters, I seen the little story, I seen the little paper you was talking about based off of the video that you had to become better at sobriety video. But I'm saying that to say, y'all, do not let where you're at discourage you. Be realistic about where you're at and understand that it's okay if you drop the ball, if you go back and take that drink, if you go back and hit that blunt. Long as you truly know that you are doing these other things and you have influences in your life to hold you accountable. You're constantly thinking about the gains and the losses concept. Dang, I just hit this blunt. I said I wasn't. What did I gain from this? Did I gain any money? Did I gain any time? Did I gain any energy? Oh man, I just hit this cocaine. What did I gain from this? Did I gain any money? Did I gain any energy? Did I gain any time? Oh man, I just smoked this cigarette. What did I gain from this? Did I gain any money? Did I gain any energy? Did I gain any time? So the best thing I can say for you to come back to being realistic, when you think about being realistic, and let's put realistic is honest about your journey. And the best thing to do about being realistic is, what's the word I was trying to think about? Is relate to gains and losses. So when you think about being realistic, relate to gains and losses. So as in, like, think about the gains and losses concept whenever you are feeling stuck in your journey, and it's time for you to tap in with realistic. All right, y'all. So we had the second part of this, and the action. So this is where we put that work in, y'all. So the action items is, one, I'm gonna harp on everything that I said that's on the bottom at least, and then I'm gonna end it off. So with accountability, accountability is actually doing these things. So actually listening to the books, because right here I kind of just showed you what the accountability was, and I put some of the actions up here too. So we'll just do that again. So listen to books, and I'll just do ETC so y'all can understand, because I feel like y'all got the concept, etc. So when you're thinking about what actions to do with your physical body, you physically go buy the book. You physically go buy the self-help book. You physically go buy the book that relates to your mind, like breaking your better self. I can't think of the name of my book. Let me see, Siri, what is the name of the book by Dr. Joe Dispenza? Breaking My Old Self. Yeah, thank you. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. One of the best mind books to get your mind right, by Joe Dispenza. Breaking the Habit of Being Your Old Self is one of the greatest books I've ever read. It's probably my top 5. It's probably my top 5 for sure of mind books. That one's a good book, y'all. It's helping you with your philosophy. Road Less Travel is another good book that you can think about to help you with your philosophy and why am I doing this? Power of the Subconscious Mind. Any of those mind books are perfect for sobriety. Listening to different people, Jim Rohn, different people, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, all those different people are great when it comes to mind. You know what I'm saying? Greg Braden, different people can really assist you with tapping into your mind. So I'm sure y'all got that part for the accountability. Really, really, friends. Like I mentioned all the examples I mentioned earlier, hitting people up on Instagram, and then being realistic. Being realistic, y'all, is really being realistic about where you're at and being realistic. And that's an action thing. That's like a physical, you know what? Let me get my mind together. I am right here, right now. This is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. I know there's a gap in between. What can I do to fill the gap? These are the things you can do to fill the gap. Hold yourself accountable by listening to the books, the movies, connecting with people that are already where you want to be. Even having to look at the gains and losses is an action thing. That's an action thing. Actually going there and saying, you know what? I will not buy this Coke, weed, cigarette, beer because it's not giving me more money. So I will not purchase that. That's an action too. Being realistic about where you at and not purchasing it, not spending the money on it so you can have your money and your energy and your time. So I really want to just harp back on that with the action point and make sure y'all understood that there's actions involved with the philosophies. And I kind of did double work a little bit because I was going a little fast and then end up putting the actions in there, but it's all good. So this is the bigger part of actions that I want y'all to see. And I'll erase this just to give me more space since I harped on that twice. So this is the bigger part that I want y'all to get, which is something that I really, really think is cool that I came up with. I don't know if it's new, but I feel like I came up with it, which to be honest, I don't give a fuck. As long as it work, I don't care who come up with it, as long as it work. For real. I be having that kind of like that Nikola Tesla mentality. I be trying not to because he went out broke as fuck. And now everybody using his name. But he changed people's lives, so that's what's important. But I'm about having both. I feel like you can have the love and the money. You can have the health and the wealth. So I call it the group of one. So the group of one is thinking about how important the increments are and understanding that once you can focus on the incremental parts of life, the microscopical parts of life, the baby steps, as they say, then you realize you win in the race. As they say, the tortoise beats the hare in the race. Because when you're learning about sobriety, y'all, you got to realize that it's a long journey. And I was having this conversation with my homie a couple of days ago, and I was telling my daughter about this. I can't remember exactly what I was having the conversation with my homie. My homie Niz. Shouts out to y'all. Make sure y'all go check in too with the homie wise words from the homie. But I was talking about how like when you're living life, you need to make sure you're putting the ing on the end of words, because what it does is it shows that you're constantly applying effort to that thing. So for example, when you're trying to, let's say, fight a habit, you can't say, man, I fought that habit, I beat that habit. It's because you're not dead yet, and something like that could easily come back. So you have to say, I'm fighting, I'm beating that thing. So to show that you're still conscious in that action, you're still currently in that action of making that thing not become what it could become if you wasn't working towards it. So that's why I think that's an important concept that shows how important it is to understand a little incremental growth in life. And that's what the group of one is. It's the increment. So the group of one is broken down as in one habit at a time. I'm gonna write them all out at once for the sake of time. 1 minute at a time. And $1 at a time. And I ain't gonna write down nothing on this. I feel like y'all be able to just get it. So one habit at a time, 1 minute at a time, and $1 at a time. So what this means is, instead of just trying to, because I even did this, instead of just trying to be like, if you're somebody who smokes and drinks beer, right? And I know this might be tough because I know when you smoking, you're gonna want that liquid to go with it, trust me, especially if it's cigarettes. You drinking a beer, you drinking some liquor, you're gonna want to follow up with that cigarette. They just go hand in hand. That's how mind works, that's how society's made it. So I get it. But it's possible because I did it, y'all. And if I can do it, you build your mind up, you can do it too, you know? Because I ain't gonna not to put too much on me. I am special because, I don't know, God just put it in me. I feel like that's why I'm here, to be able to do what I do, because there's still people who have not done what I've done, and I want to be able to help them do that. But I would say Focus on one habit at a time. If you're a person who's doing 3 things, you might smoke, drink, and goddamn snort cocaine, which is a good combination. You know, a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people understand that if you bought that life and you've done it before, you know that cigarette, liquor, cocaine combination hit different. So if you're somebody who is doing those things, just focus on one habit at a time and just nail one habit down. And it might be the thing that might be connecting you to the most of the other things. So if you feel like, man, you know what? I really wouldn't drink beer as much and smoke cigarettes as much if I didn't do cocaine. So fall back on the cocaine and focus on only why you are doing the cocaine, as in using the actions. Man, am I gaining anything? Am I gaining money? Am I gaining time? Am I gaining energy? Is anybody around me that I know that used to use cocaine, but is somewhere where I want to be now, doing the things I want to do now, having a life I want to have now? Let me be realistic about it. This is hard, you know, and just honestly focus on that one thing. I'll say I did that, you know, and I don't know the term, what it is in AAU and the whole substance culture, but it's like swapping out one thing for another. So October 28th, 2019, I was officially done with like all drugs and alcohol, but I was still smoking weed until November 10th of that same year. And then November 10th, I was officially done with all weed, all drugs, all alcohol. Besides shrooms. I was doing shrooms all the way up until, I think, June 2020. Until like June 2021. So I was doing shrooms for like maybe a year and a half after I stopped doing alcohol and everything else. So you see, it's like I focused on one thing at a time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna stop it. Especially for somebody like me who, I don't want to say everything under the sun, but I got a list. You know what I'm saying? So, especially somebody for like me. Somebody like y'all, if y'all people who are just like to have fun, you got that rock star energy in you. For all the rock star people, just one thing at a time. If that thing is cocaine, just say, I'm gonna focus on cocaine. If that one thing is just weed, just focus on weed first. And then be like, okay, I don't smoke no more, but I still may drink and hit a cigarette every so often. Okay, let's start working on that. So that's why I say 1 minute at a time, not even one day. Because sobriety is such a hard thing, because your mind is trapped. And your body is trapped too, because your mind is so trapped. Your mind is trapped because your mind is a muscle. So you're used to the muscle memory and going into the store, opening up the cooler, grabbing the beer, walking to the register, paying for it, walking out, opening it up in the car, maybe outside, goddamn. If you ratchet like how we used to be, you bust it open as soon as you get out the door. And just, you know, those are your mind. And then as you're doing that, your brain, your body and your cells are physically turning into those things as well, and it's becoming used to it too. So I would say 1 minute at a time, because you have to constantly be in that mind state. Just constantly live in that mind state of, who do I want to be? What type of person do I want to be? Okay, what does the person looks like that's doing what I want to do? What does that person live like that's living like I want to live? Okay, where am I currently at? What's realistic? All right, what am I gaining? Am I gaining money? Am I gaining energy? Am I gaining time? Like that's a constant conversation with yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's a constant successful self-talk, not to plug the book, but to plug the book. But that's constant successful self-talk, y'all. Figuring out like, okay, that's why I say it's 1 minute at a time. And you don't have to do it to the point where you stress out, because at the end of the day, you still have to be realistic and be like, you know what, man, I know where I want to be, but today I might have to just, I might have to hit this line or two. I might have to go buy this little 8-ball real quick. So, but you still got to be in your mind, be like, okay, cool. What do I want to be? So it's 1 minute at a time. And then $1 at a time is literally looking at your finances and being like, man, all right, I'm going to buy this, but I'm only going to spend 10 this time, bro, because I'm really focusing on where I want to be. I realize this ain't giving me more money. I realize it's not giving me more energy. So if it's not giving me more money and I just spend $20 here, let me spend 10 this time. Let me spend $1 less. You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting 6 a pack, just get 1 beer. You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting a 6-pack, and that's how you do the money. You do the money like that because it's, instead of getting a 6-pack, let me just get 1 beer, man. And let me just, instead of getting an 8-ball, let me just go ahead and get a dime. Like, let me get like whatever you can work out to understand. Because what it'll do is it'll show you the groups of one, that incremental growth, y'all, the incremental growth. Because it doesn't matter what you're doing down here if up here is not taken care of. So don't worry about the little small actions if you're still going back. But if you're working on your philosophy, you eventually get disgusted with this shit so much that you won't even be thinking about the 1 minute at a time. I'm like, you're like, shit, nah, zero. I ain't buying. I ain't spending time on it. I ain't even a habit to worry about no more. Okay? So hopefully that got y'all down. Like I said, I know this was going to be a long one, but I appreciate y'all. Just to kind of go over, like put a little cajita on the top of put a little bow on top of the cajita. Like I say, being able to see the philosophy is first, y'all. It's your mind. The philosophy starts off with the gains and losses concept. And we use time, energy, and money to refer to what you're gaining and losing whenever you are thinking about something that's substance abuse related. Apply that concept. Am I gaining more money? Am I losing more money? Am I gaining more time? Am I gaining more money? Time. Am I losing more energy? Am I gaining more energy? That will help you and understand the philosophy behind having an accountability mindset of people who are where you want to be and people who are doing what you want to do. So you can understand to fill in the gap between where you're at and where you want to be with having a realistic mind state to say, this is where I'm at, but this is not where I have to stay in my life. I don't have to stay here because this is where I'm at. It's a choice for me to want to go forward or go backwards or even stay here. And most likely when you're not doing nothing, you're still doing something, you're regressing. It's either progression or regression. So understanding that you have to have the mind state to understand where you're at and be okay with being where you're at, but knowing that, hey, I want to move forward. And then getting the action part down, which is the body, is all of these action items that I mentioned earlier under accountability. Going and getting a book that reflects the person's life that's where you want to be one day. Going to the meetups and meeting new people. Going into the DMs of people who are where you want to be on Instagram and Facebook and all these social platforms and saying, hey, how did you get here? I see that you've talked about these things. I see that you did this. How did you get there? If you don't mind, just give me one paragraph if you can, or some time to talk to you. Cool. Then be able to understand realistic, actually going out there and making the action with yourself and being honest with yourself in the physical form and saying, this is where I'm at, but this is not where I want to be. The groups of one, y'all. One habit at a time, 1 minute at a time, and $1 at a time. If you got to start off cutting off one habit out of the couple or many that you may do, start off there and focus on that one habit. And I would say try to focus on the one that you think makes you want to do the other things. I use coke, for example. Most people who snort coke, they also drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes as well, if not blunts. Or people who pop pills, they also drink alcohol and smoke too. 1 minute at a time. It's a constant thought process. You don't want to overthink it, but it's a constant thought process. And also $1 at a time. Try dialing back a little bit. If you're not cold turkey, which is hard to do, then dial it back. Instead of buying $5 worth of this thing, buy $1. Instead of buying 30, 40, 50, buy $30 worth, buy $40 worth. So hopefully that makes sense, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Sharing is caring, and when you caring, you sharing. I really, really appreciate everybody for rocking with me. Like I said, I try to definitely plug in them videos that I was mentioning earlier. Y'all go check out the rest of the Becoming Better playlist. And yeah, until next time, I really appreciate y'all. Remember to stay well, write your will into existence. Orders.